Everyone, I just wanted to do a quick live video before I leave to South America next week. And I just wanted to share with you some quick tips on things that I've learned throughout my travels that I wish I knew before I went on any trips, and then also some things that I'm really glad that I did along the way. But before I begin, I just wanted to share some exciting news. You're probably seeing all this travel coaching stuff on my Facebook page and wondering like what the heck that's all about. Well, I will soon be releasing a free training teaching you how to turn your passion for travel into a profit by becoming a travel coach and what that all entails. So stay tuned for that, as well as I also was a guest on a blogging podcast. So once that link is made available, I will post that. So stay tuned as well. So let's get started. So some things that I wish that I knew before I went on some trips that I've learned along the way are things like, well, I'm not much of a planner. I don't like to figure out everything. I like to kind of figure things out as they go and go with the flow. But there are definitely some times that you need to do some research and plan things beforehand, such as things when it comes to visas and like exit and entrance fees, for instance, which I tend to fail to do at times, just because I'm so free flowing with everything. So, for instance, a few years back when I was flying out of Turkey into, or out of the Middle East into Turkey, I failed to do some research and figure out that as a U.S. citizen, I needed to have a visa on arrival sticker in my passport upon arrival in Istanbul. And because that was my first passport, it was getting pretty full. And upon the airport in the UAE, I was informed that I was super lucky just because I had one empty page of my passport for the visa on arrival sticker upon arrival in Turkey. And if I had not had that page, that I would have been deported. So that would have kind of sucked. So I then raced to the computer and did some research and figured out what other countries that I was going to on that trip that I needed a space in my passport for. Otherwise, were they just going to give me stamps? Because when they have stamps, they can just stamp. Countries can stamp anywhere in a passport. But if you have a visa on arrival sticker or a visa that you get beforehand, for instance, if you're a U.S. citizen, you have to have a visa for places like Brazil, Russia, India, and China. It's a little bit longer process, and you have to get that through like an embassy. Um, and that requires a full empty page. It says two when you do the paperwork, but you really only need one. And it's the same when it comes to visa on arrival stickers. Hi, Roger. It's the same for visa on arrival stickers. You have to have one full empty page. Otherwise, the country will not put a stamp or anything on that. So, but they'll stamp around the sticker once you get a sticker in there. So that's something that I wish that I did a little bit better when I was traveling, was just to be a little bit more better planner when it came to information, and really important information like visas and things like that, how to get deported. Also, packing light. That's always kind of hard, especially if you're a girl. But once you are on your trip, you're going to kick yourself if you're carrying around too much luggage, and that can definitely um, suck. So try to pack light, like edit yourself when you're packing, and edit it a couple times, and then or buy as you go as well. Because a lot of times it's much cheaper to purchase things in other countries than to buy it in your home country and lug it around with you. And also you want to keep pack light because you want to keep space for shopping because that's always important. Um, Also to book an accommodation before arriving in a new place. Hey Nacho. Because years ago I used to just wing it and just find a place to stay upon arrival in my new destination, and that often got me kind of in a rut, because whether it was a holiday due to my lack of research that I didn't realize there was a holiday going on, or a festival or something that took up a lot of the accommodations, or the weather was really bad, or it was super late at night and stuff, so you kind of get stuck without a place to stay. So I had to stay with people I met, which was really nice of them, but it's not an ideal situation. So just to book an accommodation at least one day ahead, so that you have the comfort of knowing that you have a place to stay. And one of my favorite sites that I like to use is Booking.com. They don't usually take any fee when it when it comes to I'll speak slower, not to, they don't take a fee when it comes to pre-booking but also Hustle World is really nice too. And then also, well, I was trying not to arrive super. This is kind of relatable, but try not to arrive in a place super late. That has happened to me many times too, which can kind of suck because as a girl, you're stuck late and it's hard to get a taxi or it's hard to find accommodations when it's really late at night. And then also, when I began my travels, I wish that I started with my credit card points and knowing what that all meant beforehand. And so that kind of missed out on some of my early travels on accruing points for miles that ultimately could have gotten me free flights. So if you are interested in traveling and you like to travel a lot, I would definitely recommend finding a credit card that had miles and that was beneficial to travelers so that you can start earning points sooner than later. And then also don't over plan when it comes to traveling. A lot of times people like to overthink and overplan and everything, but I always found that the best way to travel is to learn as you go and talk to locals and talk to other travelers, and then that's the best way to find like the best places to eat or the best places to what to go and do and see. So those are just some of the things that I wish that I knew when I was traveling. But then I also wanted to mention some of the things that I did throughout my travels that I was really glad that I did. For instance, I was really glad that I kept a journal ever from the beginning of my travels about 10 years ago, because that's always nice to go back to and refer to when it comes to memories or you're trying to later down the road you want to reread them or you want to share them with your family members or kids or your grandkids. That's always a nice thing to have. So I always recommend starting a journal early. And then also it's very similar is to starting a blog early. I was always really glad that I started my blog, and your blog is going to evolve over time. And but that's okay. Just get it out there. Just start writing, and you'll find your voice and you'll find your niche when it comes to blogging. So I was glad that I did that too. And my blog had definitely evolved over the years as well. And that's what led me into my travel coaching and stuff too. So you just never know where your blog can take you or what opportunities it can bring for you. And then I always kept a separate notebook when it comes to traveling. And what I put in the notebook are like little details that I learned when I was in each country. So whether uh, how much it costs to take a taxi, or how much the accommodations were, or what the local food average price is, or how much it is to buy like a souvenir there. So all these little details were really helpful, and I also kept this journal with me throughout this little notebook with me throughout my trips. And when I would return to some countries, it was nice to go back to and look at and say, oh, I forgot like how much a bus ticket from the airport into the city is. Let me look at this, so that you're not getting ripped off when someone lies to you when you're trying to get a taxi or you're trying to book a transportation somewhere. So that was also really helpful. And then also, I never let society's norms dictate or influence my life choices. That's always something I was really glad too, that as I began traveling when I was about 22, 23. So I was really glad that I just never listened to society's norms of, you must have a real job by now, you must start settling down and stuff like that. Like I was listening to myself and my own whatever resonated with me and my values and my desires in life. So I just never, I was glad that I never let that hinder me. And then also when it comes to fears and anxieties, I never let any of that, hi Marissa, I never let any of that hold me back either. So it's really easy to want to stay within your comfort zone if you have a lot of fears or worries and stuff, and especially traveling, because that could definitely bring that out in people, because there's so many what ifs when it comes to the world of traveling. And so it's really easy to exercise your fears and your anxieties and to cave into those. But I was always really glad that I just kept pushing and pushing through all of those so that I would not let it hold me back. And I was really glad that I did that just because I've been able to go to so many places and see so many cool things and meet so many great people. And had I wanted to stay in my comfort zone, because that's what my anxiety, my fear wanted me to do, I wouldn't have become the person or where I am in life now. So that's something I would definitely recommend people to do, is just step out of that comfort zone, push past any fears and anxieties that you may have when it comes to traveling. And then lastly, traveling also taught me how to manage my money really well, which is something I was glad that I did throughout the years. I was able to work a lot and save a lot of money and use that savings to fund my travels throughout the years. So I would always recommend doing that so that you can live the lifestyle that you want of traveling. And that's what allowed me to travel on and off for so many years on my own funds without ever worrying about finances, because I had that cushion that I had, and staying on a budget allowed me to keep that cushion when it came to budgeting. So those are just some things that I wanted to share with you guys that I feel were really important throughout my travels, that I learned, that I wish that I knew back then, and the things that I'm glad that I did. So I'm going to be leaving to Colombia in South America next week. So I just want to jump on here with you guys, and stay tuned for my free training that I'll be soon releasing of how to travel the world, or how to turn your passion for travel into a profit by becoming a travel coach. And I will be posting that link to that soon. And then also stay tuned for the link for my interview on the blogging podcast too. So thanks everyone who's been watching today. Have a good day. Bye.